Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I sold my first website ever for $6,000 and landed a $12,000 contract with that. So $18,000 total, and this was my first project ever building websites. So if you saw the video where I sold it for $41,000, that was actually my second website and my first real project where I developed a full stack application from scratch. This one was actually built in Wix and was something that I did when I was 19 years old. So I started it then and was really the first project that got me into web development. So I'm just gonna share my story and hope you guys enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So just to give you a quick backstory, I was 19 years old at the time, and I was always really interested in the business aspect of things and learning how to market companies, how to build them. And one of the things that I noticed was that everything was moving online. So I was noticing that a lot of websites in their marketing process and a lot of articles that I was reading, they would do a lot of social media marketing, but they would also have to rank in the Google search results. So Google being maybe in local listing sites like Yelp. So I realized that that's definitely something that I should look into if I'm looking to market. I didn't really have a business at the time, but I knew that I wanted to do something like that. So I started learning about the concept of SEO, so search engine optimization. For those of you that don't know it, it's the process of ranking a website and optimizing it to appear in search results and at the top. So trying to make that rank higher. So I knew that if I can learn how to rank a site, any business that I can work with, that kind of skill set would be very powerful. So I started learning about SEO, reading a bunch of articles, and I found this book called The Art of SEO. And I just read through that book, again, with a lot of articles that I was finding at the time, and really started picking things up. So I started to get the concept. It started making sense to me on how we can optimize a website, how we can actually get it to rank, things that we need to do. But the only problem was I didn't know how to build a website. I had no experience at all. So I started doing research on websites themselves and kind of got stressed out over that learning curve, because here I am just learning something like SEO, which is kind of a big topic. And then I had to learn about how to build a website. So looking at HTML, CSS and all that. So getting stressed out, I realized that there are a lot of platforms like Wix, WordPress, Weebly at the time, Squarespace, a few other ones that I was looking into. And I realized, hey, if I can learn how to use these platforms, I don't have to learn how to code up a website. I can just use something like that. So WordPress at the time was a little bit too much for me. So I kind of went away from that, looked at Weebly, and then eventually settled on Wix because of their drag and drop feature, because that was seemed pretty easy to do. So I got into Wix, started building a bunch of different websites and learning how to put these things together. So once I felt comfortable with websites, I knew enough SEO, I needed to actually put this into practice, because something like this, you actually need to see what you can do and actually try to rank it. And it takes a couple of weeks, months, sometimes years for a website to really grow in the ranking and get Google's trust. So I was looking at industries, wondering what I can practice on, and really didn't have the intention of forming a company, but just wanted to rank a website and eventually take it down just to see if I can do something with it. So I was looking at industries that I can work with, and I had a buddy that was working as a locksmith at the time, and he was a contractor, so he would just get phone calls sent his way. If somebody needed a car unlocked, a door, maybe a key made, he would drive out there, he had all the equipment, and he would eventually just get the job done. So I thought, okay, that's kind of an industry that I can work with. I can put together a locksmith website and just rank it and see what I can do. If I get a call, maybe I'll send him his way, he can take care of it. So I built the website, I bought a domain. I won't mention the name because I sold it, so it's not mine. I want to keep that private, but I put together the website and started ranking it. So we had the website going. We didn't have an LLC or anything like that, but I was sitting on page 7, then page 5, 4 after a couple weeks, and was slowly watching the ranking grow, but really nothing happens until you're on that front page. So in this waiting process, I was doing more research on SEO, just practicing again, like I always do. I always try to improve my skills. And I learned about Google Ads. So this is an ad that you can buy where you can appear at the top of the rankings, but Google will put a little sticker next to your search result that says it's an ad. So a user at least knows that this is an advertisement, it's not an organic result, and you can pay per click. So I think the cost was about $6 to $10 per click that we're paying. So I quickly learned that, and I started running ads, and within the first day, I'm sitting in my home office and I get a call, and this is a customer that is locked out somewhere out in the city and needs their door unlocked. So I kind of panicked and I just referred him to a competitor, and then I realized, okay, we can actually do something with this, so we need to put something together. So I called my buddy up and I told him, hey, I'm gonna send calls your way, and if you can take them, I'll just take the cut just to cover advertising cost, and you can keep the rest of the profit. I'm not trying to profit off of this yet. I just want to see what's going on. So we just kept repeating that process. I would run the ads, send the calls his way, and we'd formed a company around it. So I created an LLC, got the proper licensing, bought some equipment, and we're just repeating that process. A couple of months into it, we actually ended up ranking in the results, probably in the 1, 2, 3 spot. So we started ranking organically. So that ranking went from page 7, 5, and then slowly we got on the first page and started beating a lot of competitors that were there for 20 to 30 years. So a lot of people that were really in that industry, and we got the attention of a few of our locksmith competitors. So one day I get a phone call, and at this point in that process, I actually started selling websites. So I created another LLC and thought, okay, if I can do this once, I can sell this to some local businesses. So I got a phone call, and I thought somebody was asking about my services for that, and they asked to meet at a local coffee shop. So we meet up with them, and we quickly realized they're another locksmith company, and they were more interested in the locksmith company, not about the web development services. So we got to talking, and they eventually offered a buyout for the company and for services. So they said, okay, we'll buy you out, and we'll also pay you to do the same for our website and to continue ranking the website that you sell to us. So we went back and spent maybe a week or two just deciding, okay, what's this worth? Do we want to sell it? Do we want to continue it? And at this process, or at this point, I realized, okay, I want to build websites. I don't want to run a locksmith company. That wasn't my intent. So let's make him an offer, or let's give him a price and see if they'll take it. So we gave him an offer. They negotiated with it a little bit, and we ended up settling on $6,000 for the website. A 4-month contract at $3,000 a month to service, rebuild the company's website, and do SEO for the website that we sold and for the company that was buying us. So we were SEOing 2 websites and just doing that. So I took that offer because that was a $12,000 guarantee for services for my company for 4 months, and $6,000 upfront, along with the potential to continue servicing the company, which we ended up doing. So that was a pretty good deal. I was comfortable with that because that was a side project that ended up doing really well for my first website ever. And that was kind of the whole story of how I sold it. So the last thing I wanted to address is the takeaway and how I came up with that price and how we negotiated that deal. So if you look at this, it was built in Wix, which as a developer now, I would never go through that process again. But being resourceful and delivering a product like that and still finding the value, that's the key in selling anything or in delivering some kind of value in a product. Is, does this thing have a need? And in my case, it was the SEO that was ranking, and the company did not care about the tech stack, what we used for it. They wanted the SEO ranking. So selling a website in Wix for that kind of value, for a combined value of $18,000 and then whatever came on top of that, seems kind of crazy, but the value again was delivered and we're able to work with it. So not to overthink what you're building it in. I still do believe that you should try to make it better, use a better tech stack, but again, not to overthink that process and just be resourceful. So let's talk about the actual valuation and the price. It was $6,000 for the website, $12,000 in a guaranteed service contract, so $18,000 total. So there were 2 things I had to look at. The first one was, what was their bare minimum that they were willing to settle for and actually pay for to recap their investment. So whenever they buy it, I want to make sure that they make their money back within a 6 to 12 month period. And what was I making off of it? So I was profiting after all overhead and expenses, probably about $1,000 a month. So $12,000 a year. So I had to look at that $18,000 and see, okay, this is what I'm going to get up front, and I can land a lot more than that in the long term if we service this thing well. So I was pretty comfortable with that sale, knowing that they would profit off of it, I can benefit off of it, and I felt like we met on pretty good neutral grounds and making sure that they would recap their investment. So that's how we negotiated that price, and that's all I have for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching this one.